Welcome back to the Last Raven tutorial videos. In this episode, we will be talking a bit more about the various stats in the game. So in the last episode, I explained that you have to press the circle button to show more details on the stats. This was only half the story. If you press circle one more time, you will open up the full statistics window. On the right side, it shows the overall statistics that your AC has at this current moment. On the left side, it shows the statistics of a current highlighted part. This might be intimidating to look at, but once you got the basic understandings of the stats, it's a lot easier to keep track of everything. If you ever feel confused about what a stat means or does, press select and it will give you an explanation of it. Here's a few key stats that you will need to know. Stability determines whether an AC will stop moving and be stunned when hit by an attack. This is important especially when you get hit by a strong attack like a grenade launcher. On the core you can find VSMG response, which means versus missile guidance response, which tells you how well your core's anti-missile system can intercept enemy missiles. The higher this number, the bigger the chance your core will stop enemy missiles before they hit your AC and do damage. Also on the core are optional slots. These slots allow you to equip optional parts, which give small stats boosts in specific areas, such as higher defense, bigger lockbox, or better cooling. Cores have different number of slots, and optional parts can take anywhere from 1 to 4 slots, so be sure to choose what stats you want wisely. Cores also have 2 stats specific to them. The first is EO, Exceed Orbit, which is a floating turret on your AC. The other is OB, Overboost, which is a booster that gives you a gigantic burst of speed for a short period of time in exchange for higher energy consumption and heat production. Armored cores have a wide variety of leg units that they can choose from based on what they want to do. Normal humanoid legs, also known as bipeds, are the most standard type of legs. They have balanced stats overall, with no real noticeable advantages or disadvantages. They also come in lighter and heavier variants. Reverse joint legs have great vertical movement and high jump with low energy consumption, but have lower armor and can't hold as much weight. Quad legs require a lot of energy to use, but are usually more stable than other legs. Along with that, it allows the usage of special back-mounted weapons while moving or dashing on the ground. The tank legs are the most defensive type of legs. They are slow and have their own built-in booster so you don't have to equip one. They can use special back-mounted weapons even while flying and usually don't get stunned. And last but not least, hover legs are extremely fast and light legs which allow an AC to zoom around the battlefield. In exchange, they cannot hold much weight and have very low defenses. These legs also have their own built-in boosters. The FCS, also known as Fire Control System, is what helps you lock onto enemies. What FCS you choose dictates how large your lockbox is, its range, and the number of missiles you can lock on, and much more. The lock type shows what kind of lockbox you got, either being standard, WS also known as wide and shallow, or ND, which means narrow and deep. The max capture and average capture are statistics which are important to dictate how big your lockbox is vertically and horizontally, and also the size of it when a weapon is equipped. For example, the average capture stat shows the smallest your lockbox can be. The one I got highlighted here has a 9 and an 18, meaning it's vertically not that impressive at 9, and I will have to look up and down to get enemies into my lockbox that are flying. But horizontally being 18 means it will be quite wide, so I can catch a lot of enemies that are to the left and right. The max capture shows the biggest your lockbox can be with the right weapon combinations. The parallel sight is a stat which when you got a high number on it, that your left-handed weapon, if it's not a blade, will not reduce the size of your lockbox too much. The VSECM, also known as the Versus Electronic Countermeasures, is a stat that protects you from ECMs jamming your AC's performance. Without a lot of ECM protection, you will have trouble locking onto enemies and also have your radar at times malfunction. To get a higher ECM protection, you need the VSECM stat on either the head, FCS, or back-mounted radar. Now let's talk a bit about heat and cooling. In Last Raven, overheating is a constant and serious threat to your AC as it will cripple it, resulting in losing energy and health. There are 2 key things that you need for this: good cooling stats and a radiator. Radiators are important as they determine how well and how long it takes your AC to disperse heat. For example, when your AC overheats, it will activate the emergency cooling on your radiator. The forced cooling stat will cool along with the normal cooling until the heat issue is resolved. However, it will also use the emergency consumption stat alongside with it, which will drain your energy gauge depending on how high the stat is. Thus a better part will cool faster, have less risk of overheating, and also cool down quickly when you do. The cooling stat, which also greatly helps, is present on all frames of an AC, so having more of this greatly benefits you. Now an important stat I want to talk about is the calorific value on the generator, also known as heat emission value on the PSP version, and the booster heat stat on the booster. These two statistics combined together can make your AC actually get overheated when your basic cooling is too low. This means you have to build an AC to either have a booster and generator combination which won't generate a lot of heat, or go all out on high statistics, however you would get extremely hot from it. This can be done by having a radiator with really high cooling along with a bunch of body parts with high cooling. However, when being hit by an extremely hot attack, your radiator will have trouble keeping up with the cooling. Now on to the extensions. These are shoulder units that offer a wide range of bonuses, such as missile extensions, which fire alongside your regular missiles, ammo increase, or armor increase. These can be extremely handy if the AC is built around the extension, but if the AC does not need set parts too much, it will end up being a dead weight in most situations, which is a waste of energy and weight. Inside parts are similar, but are inside the shoulder of an AC, and serve mainly as decoys or jamming rolls. This is great for when you need to make up for a lack of anti-missiles on your core or defensive play. Like extensions, if you don't have a need for it, it's not very useful. They also have a drawback of having long cooldowns, so after each use you will have to wait for a while. Finally, let's talk about radars. There are two main types, head-based radars and back-mounted ones. If you don't have one, you usually have the other, as it's very hard to not have a radar to locate your enemy, especially when they are behind you. That being said, it is not uncommon to add an extra radar to boost up your radar capabilities. The scanning interval is a stat that shows you how quickly the radar refreshes to everything that's going on around you. The higher the number, the less frequently the radar will update, which looks like objects are skipping around on your radar or moving in a stuttering motion. The biosensor works differently on the head compared to the back-mounted one. The head part biosensor, if present on the head, allows you to lock onto enemies that are organic, like the Amida insects. Missing that stat makes it a lot harder to hit non-mechanical enemies and makes missiles worthless against them. The back-mounted radar's biosensor, on the other hand, allows you to see non-mechanical enemies on your radar, which can really help you not get caught off guard. And if all that customization wasn't enough, you can also tune your AC parts. That's right! Do you really like that head part, but something about it holds you back? No problem! With tuning you can adjust the statistics of body parts, the booster, the generator, and radiator to your liking. Unlike an Armored Core Nexus, tuning is completely free, so you can do it as many times as you want. This is the end of this video. I've explained most of the stats that you might have needed some explanation for. Tune in next time where I explain the weapon types and their functions. Till next time, Ravens.